Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigor Mortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have Late Night and the Girl in the Photograph. So, for those of you just tuning in, creepypastas are short, scary stories that get copied and pasted across the internet, whether it be on wikis or Reddit. Go Google it, you'll get a better description. But, yes, we're doing Late Night, which is by Search and Rescue Woods on the Reddit NoSleep forums. So you can check it out there, and I'll leave a link for a reading in the description below. Same goes with the Girl in the Photograph. The Girl in the Photograph's on creepypasta.wiki, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So, for start off with Late Night. So pretty much it's this guy who has trouble sleeping, stays up to all hours in the morning. He's a writer. He's also a part of the forest rescue. And on one of his days off, during the middle of one of his writing, he's doing a writing project. He leaves the TV on low, just as some background noise, and goes by it and sees that it's not just the usual dead air or the the signal, the mild tone and please stay with us until 6 o'clock or whatever the next morning. It's an emergency broadcast at the local news station. And it seems like the guy is in a rush to type in these this message. It's this creepy message about these children that are in the woods or coming through the woods, but they can't get past the woods, but they're not your kids. And don't go looking for your kids upstairs. They're fast asleep. Just stay in your homes. And this is interspliced with the actual emergency broadcast that usually happens. And him and his friend calls his friend and tells him about it, who also stays up late. And they're just watching this shit, and they're just kind of experiencing this weird set of emergencies, and they don't know really what to do. And then eventually it goes off, and they're like, "Well, what do we do?" It's I'm just gonna go to bed. He does go out by one of his windows and see, or by one of his screen door or something like that out the backyard, and sees a childlike figure out by the tree line. Goes to unlock the door, then checks again, and the child is gone. So he locks his door back up and goes back to bed. Next morning, nothing happens at all. Calls his buddy. Buddy's just yeah, that was really weird. That was kind of fucked up. And it kind of just goes away. Nothing is ever talked about again. It's just kind of at night I'll just keep my blinds closed. Fini. That's pretty much the rundown for Late Night. It's a shorter pasta. So I'll just dive into my thoughts on it then. So the first bit of the story, it's just him talking about his existence and what he does and shit like that. And while I was kind of interested to hear what the setup of the story, I kind of found myself skimming through this part and it was kind of a little bit too slow for my taste, until the actual weird shit started happening. And then it just found myself not really interested in the first bit of this, and then not until stuff got actually interesting with the weird broadcast. I did enjoy the creepy imagery of that the story presents, where you just find that there's an emergency broadcast, and it's just so out of context for the character, and the whole idea of these just telling you these creepy children that aren't your children, and it's but I don't have children. And stay out of your stay in your homes and don't call for any emergency personnel or whatever.
Don't
go upstairs.
Levels of your home.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird it was just kind of a surreal kind of broadcast. I was just I liked the creepy kind of the out of context creepiness you get from that.
I'm my upstairs downstairs supervisor.
I was pleasantly surprised that when the guy calls his buddy the next day, the buddy wasn't like either missing or like there was something creepy about that. Like it just went on, except for the fact that like the story just kind of stops. And that's kind of a beef I have with the ending of this. Like, I kind of want more. Like, I want there to be more, like, of a story figuring out what the hell just happened, like, that night before. Like, it seems like the whole town and this guy just like, oh, that was a weird event. Well, I'm just going to keep my blinds closed.
Yeah,
Nothing
the only
else.
reason this is short is because it's not
It just
longer.
stops. Yeah, the only reason it's short is because it just stops. Like, there's...
Or it's only short because it's not longer.
Yeah. All right.
As it could have been, but it just
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there could be... Yeah, there's just more afoot here than like that could be explored in a cool story. But no, it's just a weird event happened and we're done. Kind of made me disappointed at the end. And like maybe the other stories, because Mikey actually before the show started told me that this guy apparently has written a bunch of other stories that are not quite related, but they're all in the woods. So maybe those are somehow connected, or like they will shed some light if we were to read those, maybe for another episode.
Potentially, I have a note here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my real notes on this one because there's not a whole lot otherwise. Mikey.
My issue was with the small town. He says very small town that has its own TV station. And it's a small town that if there's something going wrong, the police can go around and knock on everyone's door and say, hey, there's something going on. So that's a really small town. And it has its own TV station. Now,
we're in a small town.
Yeah, we have a radio
And-
station?
Yeah, and we don't have a television station, and you certainly can't round up every citizen by going around knocking on their doors.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
take too long.
I hear you because on like in Canada, or our own personal experience, our small towns do not have a news thing. However, I think I could be wrong, but it could be different in America. Like there could be like American like woodland, like it's in like heavily wooded area. So maybe the town set up a small news station.
Yeah. A rogue pirate station, like in the previous past?
The other thing I was going to say is that like it also kind of sounded like the whole like the setup of the story kind of reminded me of Gravity Falls. So I think the guy might have been pulling some of his information from like media and like where like it's a small town that has a news station for reasons. Even though the more likelihood for us anyway would be that it would have a radio station. It didn't really bother me as much. Like I actually just kind of like, all right, so this place has a news station. I can live with that. But
Yeah.
that's like personal like experience. Like small towns don't usually have TV studios.
Yeah. And I've been in a smaller town and it had 2 radio stations.
Oh, a lot of luxury,
Yeah, so instead of...
and not a single TV station.
Nope. No, apparently you have to be even smaller to get a TV station.
I don't know, man. I grew up in a hamlet, and we didn't have either.
Yeah, so...
Should have had a town crier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and...
Well, he wouldn't have had to walk.
He just goes into town,
He
middle of
would
the
have just been
intersection.
able to stand on the corner and fucking holler, and we'd all heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole sign-off thing for the TV station is actually more of an ancient relic.
So because it's from an earlier period.
Well, because I found a site called tvsignoffs.com, which explains, with very few exceptions, all U.S. TV stations now operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, filling their overnight schedules with infomercials, home shopping fare, all-night network news, movies, daytime talk show reruns. So the likelihood that there's
nothing to air.
remote
in that
station.
I
place.
think I have like 1 or 2 channels that sign off.
Yeah.
Now that being said, most of those are not small town television network.
Yeah. Like there's probably like it's probably like a low budget like operation at best, or maybe it's not going to have
basically
like infomercials.
everything about this fucking TV station is a fucking plot hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a plot hole that you can drive a train through.
And yet I leaped right over it because I didn't see any problem with it. Which I guess is the same thing like with the author is like, oh no, this isn't a plot hole at all.
Yeah. It would have worked much better as a radio station.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for the explanation of it being left on, it still would have worked, because it's not like he was sitting there watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
He had the TV on for background. You know what else makes noise? A radio.
Yeah. Yeah, the radio, like, that would have easily fixed that plot hole, because that's a little bit more, at least for us, like, it's a little bit more knowledgeable.
No,
and I'm sure...
just in general, it's more believable. Mm-hmm. It's not, just for us. No, in general, it's more believable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the main part that most people who've read his earlier work associate is stairs. So in his other works, he's out in the forest and there's just random stairs. And people tell him don't think about it and don't go up them.
Okay.
So that's essentially what I've gathered from reading 2 of the 8-part series.
That came before this one.
That came before this one, which is called I'm a Search and Rescue Officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. So it's that... What I've read of that is actually much more entertaining.
All right.
Because it's got missing persons, Bigfoot, Bear Man, Mexican Slender Man.
Is this, like, all in the same town, or is this, like...
Yeah, it's all just stories.
So, yeah...
his stories and secondhand stories that he's supposedly put on there.
Wow, so this really is just kind of like Gravity Falls, the story.
Stairways to nowhere in the middle of nowhere that people just tell him, don't think about it. Don't go up the stairs. So, in this story... It has, your children are not outside, they're upstairs in bed.
Okay, so
that adds a bit more creepiness if you know
the other stories.
The other stories with, you don't go up the stairs. Like, what the heck is up the stairs if you go?
Don't think about
actually go up it. So that your children aren't actually there. Dun 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 dun.
Okay,
creepy.
At some point, we will have to do the other ones.
They're walls of text.
Oh, no.
After the second one, at the end of the second one, it says, the next one's going to be a wall of text. And I was like, no. Those first 2 were pretty long. But, like I say, those have more variety because it's multiple stories given at once, and sort of, in that essence, he's the storyteller as opposed to the protagonist.
Yeah.
Although some of the stories are explained as his experiences. So, in my opinion, the 2 that I've read out of the 8 are better
than this one.
And longer. Because it's a lot of short stories.
Yeah, this one was also suggested to us as just this story by listeners. So until you brought up the fact that there were other ones this guy had written that might have been connected, I was like, oh shit. All right, well, we'll cover that in the later episode. Anything else?
No, not really for this anyway.
All right, Leviathan.
Honestly, this one is just what's the fucking point? Like, start to finish, virtually nothing happens.
Yeah. Yeah, then a kid just
there's
running
there's a weird event that happens
which
on
has
the TV.
No effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely do not stand why this warning had to be up. Like, how many... First off, this is a tiny fucking town.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the goddamn night.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
Like, yeah. And, like, how many people are awake at that hour in a tiny fucking town with nothing to do? Like, there might be 1 or 2. Yeah. Let's be honest. Yeah, you can round them up by knocking on their doors.
Yeah.
Probably 1 or 2.
Yeah. So the 2 people mentioned the story that are texting back and forth.
Well, no, they're like the one guy. Yeah, it's just like, who is this warning for?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense in that regard. Like, if this town is this town, honestly, shouldn't be this small. Mm-hmm. That's probably more of the problem than anything. Because even in a city this size, like the size of the one we live in, it would still be, like, I could believe that people would be seeing shit like this and get panicked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, start calling 911. enough for an emergency broadcast to be like, hey,
Stay in your homes.
citizenry, calm down.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It makes more sense to me. Because, I mean, like, who the fuck's going out and looking at the tree line?
Yeah.
Fucking no one.
Yeah.
Your children are asleep in their beds. Yeah, guess what? So
We
are
knew
their
that
parents.
We knew that already. Don't go upstairs. Bitch, don't tell me what to do.
I'm already upstairs.
I'm watching this on my upstairs TV.
Also, just the layout of this guy's home, because, like, he goes from his living room to his bedroom, and he doesn't go upstairs.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's apparently just a single guy living alone. Maybe it's just a one-story flat, but still, it just, like, it's not explicitly said, so I go to what I'm more familiar with. And like most people, it's a two-story house.
Yeah.
Or at least, a house where maybe the bedroom and living room are on the same floor. That's maybe a small gripe, but it took me out of the story because I'm like, hey, you're upstairs. Fuck, man. And yeah, there's too much time spent explaining the fucking, the broadcast, because I genuinely have no idea. It doesn't fucking matter. It could have been, it just, like, the fact that, oh man, he's typing in a hurry. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, going through, like, having those, spelling mistakes in the fucking warning. It's like, you don't fucking need that. It doesn't add anything at all.
I would actually disagree. I do feel it does add to the experience. Like, the immersive part of it, like, seeing them, like, actually him, like, transcribing it, it's like, okay, so that's what, like it adds to the whole, like, the guy's making mistakes because he's typing too fast.
Okay, that's your... Yeah, but why is he making mistakes? Why is he in such a fucking rush? They can't leave the tree line.
All right, fair enough.
And they
that
don't
is a plot hole.
fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Like, there is... The only reason for this warning to be up is because the parents, who are, like, basically 100% guaranteed to be asleep, are seeing not their children, like, running around through the woods.
And then when they get to the tree line, they're just, like, in place. Like, so the trees are your safe, like, so that's, like, barring them away.
Okay, but let me finish.
Sure, yes.
And doing nothing, and they're actually upstairs sleeping. Because the parents aren't even seeing this because they're still fucking asleep.
Yeah.
So what's the fucking hurry?
True.
Like,
yeah, it is a bit of a glaring...
There's no reason for it. Honestly, I don't understand why there's a fucking meeting the next morning, because who the fuck saw the goddamn warning broadcast? Like...
It does. Like, I think it would actually lend itself really just to be a radio station, because there'd be a lot of people in town that would probably hear
or
that.
a bigger
city,
town,
yeah.
Because, like, not obviously
Not a
a
city,
huge
but
metropolitan area, but, like, something where you can't round up the folk by knocking on doors, because that just, like, that tells me there's a fucking maybe 2 streets in this town.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's just, like, there's so much fucking wrong with this, and I'm not even angry about what's wrong with it, because nothing fucking happens. So that's what I'm angry about, because
there is no
real reason for this to be written.
Aside from just to have a weird experience.
I might as well write up a creepypasta about a shit I take.
So
because at least something happened.
Shit would indeed happen.
Shit just got real.
There will be shit.
We have such shits to show you. Sorry,
but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like it's not a really like it poses itself to be a threat, like with the whole like emergency. Hang on, let me finish. To be the broadcast and like him like and like this creepy like creature thing that is doppelgangering kids in the town, but then they can't get past the tree line, and like even like when the guy like went to like unlock his door, it's oh, this is where something's gonna happen to him. Then he looks back and nothing's there. He locks the door. It's like all right, something's gonna happen to him. And then the next day passes, like nothing happened. What the fuck? Like why did that happen then? Like I understand
this is worse than the road, because the road shit happened. It just didn't fucking matter by the time you turned the page.
Yeah,
this nothing really happened.
Yeah, the creature that is like so
if he'd
terrifying.
Have slept through the night,
he would have been fine.
It would have been the exact same story.
Yeah.
He would have been in just as little and much danger if he'd have just slept through the night.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my thoughts on late night.
Fair enough. And I guess we'll go on to the next one, which is a micropasta, even smaller than the one that we just did, the girl in the photograph. So this kid named Tom is doing math in school, looks out the window right next to him and sees this photo on the lawn. So when school wraps up, he goes out and runs to it and picks it up, and it's this picture of a really beautiful beautiful girl, and she's got like a peace sign on the photograph. So he takes it. He asks around like if anybody's seen this person, and like nobody seems to know who this person is. Goes home that night, puts it on his mantle or on his bedside
table.
Yeah, bedside table. Then that night he gets woken up to a tapping on his window and a giggling, and he goes up to the window and opens it up and follows the giggling. So I'm guessing he's on the first. He must be on the first floor. But then nothing happens and he goes back to bed. Next day he's asking around again. No one knows this girl. Next night, same thing happens pretty much, except this time he goes out and follows the giggling onto the road and gets hit by a car. And as the trucker or the driver comes up to try and help him, it's too late. He's dead. And he has this photo, and he takes a look at the photo, and it's this girl in the photo. And this time she's got 3 fingers up. Dun dun dun. That's the end of the story.
My main question is, did she have one hand in her pocket and the other hand holding a peace sign?
God damn it. So the girl in the photo was actually Alanis Morissette. All right.
Well, no.
Problem
said she's
solved.
cute. But I am.
Oh, that's mean. She's not that bad looking.
Yeah, but I would never describe her as cute.
Fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, this feels like every urban legend ever. Like, I kind of actually expected at the beginning or the end of this happened to a friend of mine. That's about it. It also reminded me of Japanese horror stories or like ghost stories that I've read, and like even like Tomi by Junji Ito, where it's just like this creepy girl, and like every story is a different angle of like how can a cute girl screw over like so many people supernaturally, or like through like a cursed object or something like that. So it kind of reminded me of that.
It's so obvious. Marry the bitch.
I think actually one of the stories was that, and then it just circled into madness. But yeah, so it's a neat little like ghost story, I guess, of a cursed object, kind of similar to like the monkey's paw or something like that, or maybe not the monkey's paw, but it screams of an urban legend that people have heard before. But that's really all I have to say about it, because it's way too short. It's just kind of like you read it for like the 2 minutes and then it's out of your hair. But Mikey, do you have anything?
Well, to start off, my main issues were how it was written. Like, it was 6 more minutes until after school.
Okay. I actually, I did see that, and I was like, oh, great, more numbers. But then I, like, thought of it, it's like, you're in math class? Yeah, you're fucking, like, keeping time, only 6 more minutes.
It could have been phrased different, like, it was 6 minutes until school was over for the day.
Okay.
Yeah. It's worded...
It's one of those...
in the worst possible manner that you can still understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
Because, I mean, if it had been worded any more poorly, you wouldn't have known what he was trying to say.
Yeah. And then the next section, which was a pain. His desk was next to the window, and he turned and looked to the grass outside. It looked like a picture. So he's looking out, and it looks picturesque.
I thought the window, the window looked like a picture. The scene outside looked like a picture. It was... I
do vaguely recall reading that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, but then the next sentence goes on, and it clearly is, there's a picture on the grass.
Yeah.
Which you go, oh, that's what he was trying to tell us, and wasn't conveyed correctly.
Yeah.
So that was annoying to read, because just mind going one way, and then it's actually another way.
Yeah.
Just,
the descriptor was not what he wanted it.
It was just poorly fucking written.
Yeah.
Okay, so after getting to the end, we're left with the realization that the girl in the photo is killing people.
Yeah.
But how the heck did the photo end up in a schoolyard in the first place?
Because the person who had it before, not number 2, was run over in the middle of the schoolyard.
By a lawnmower.
No, by an airplane. That's why there were no
Yes.
tire tracks.
Yes, exactly.
Duh.
I could easily just like, say, oh well, it just like wherever that incident happened, it caught on the wind and just flew and like fluttered over. Because supernatural bullshit happens like that.
When cursed objects move or like get to
They have
weird
to pass
places,
hands.
I just no.
Oh.
When cursed objects get from place to place, I just assume it's part of the curse. Like they go to the next, like the nearest, most susceptible victim.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know
so
what I mean?
the
Like-
next susceptible person is the guy who picked it up at the end?
In this case, yes,
Yeah.
because it's the middle of the night. I don't.
Yeah.
It's what I
It's a
go
haunted
with.
object. It's a supernatural object, obviously, because
It's my catch-all explanation because, honestly, anytime you're dealing with a cursed item in any movie, TV show, creepypasta, book, there's always that first one that has to be explained but never is because it's the start of the fucking story.
Yeah.
And I always just, alright, fine, whatever.
it was destined to be there.
It was there because it wanted to be there.
Yeah.
It is.
It is a
how
cursed
I
object.
roll.
And then...
Or maybe the last person, number 2, didn't live on the first story. They lived in an apartment building, like a really tall one. So when they went out the window with the picture,
it flew
just-
away.
Yeah, like I said, it glided down on the wind to get that spot. What we're not seeing in the story is that, like, just down the block in an apartment complex, there's a suicide crime scene going on right now. Somebody's jumped out a window, but the kid wouldn't know that because he's just a kid. Anyway, yeah, we've added onto the story.
well,
That really should have been added more.
And at this point, like, has it been there all fucking day?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a schoolyard.
Somebody else would have picked that up.
Or trampled on it, or what have you. Like,
Yeah.
you'd be sitting there. Also, how attractive is this girl? Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is?
Are you Sarah Connor?
Like,
Yeah.
just
And this kid like spends 2 days like asking everyone he knows and people he doesn't know in school who this girl is, and nobody can tell her or tell him.
yeah. It's
And then
just
yeah,
it's clearly ridiculous.
Yes.
like I
And-
said, it kind of writes. It's self-contradictory, like many like urban legends or like little ghost stories that you see in local towns or something.
Well, and this is about ghosts, and something popped in my mind, just like Ghostbusters 3. She puts up 3 at the end, and then my mind
Oh,
just
God.
went to the ghost symbol with the 3.
This is actually just an advertisement for the new Ghostbusters movie. All right.
Well, an amateur one,
Yeah.
and then they took that down at the end just to make it their own.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if this was like a creative school project or something like that, and they're just like they just took out the Ghostbusters
I
advertisement at the
would,
end.
because this doesn't fit
Any
word count criteria for any school project
All right.
ever.
I was making a joke, but okay.
Yeah. Yes, that was just my thoughts on
Yeah.
the 3.
Add on to it, yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
Leviathan, any final words on this one?
Honestly, it's just crap. Like,
Yeah, it's a very simple story. It's not like there are.
it all fits on your screen at
Yeah,
at
it's-
one time, and it's not worth reading
Yeah.
because it's just the reason it's so short is because it's so badly written.
Yeah, like from the start, like it was just like,
that-
ugh.
If they made it
That's
longer,
why.
you would just be like, why is this so much more badly written?
Well, if they had have written it better, it would have would have had to have been longer.
Yeah.
It's just it's
The writing's very simple, and not very well written, like grammar and spelling.
like it's almost like I feel bad for saying that it's so horrible because it's almost like an 8-year-old wrote it, and if that isn't the case, then your story's bad and you should feel bad. Like
if this was some kid's like first story, like keep working at it.
Yeah,
But
like,
if this is somebody's like keep working at it, but you should still feel bad.
No. If this is a kid's story, they should keep working on it But if this is like a teenager's or an adult story, they should stop.
Yeah.
They should just stop, because if this is what you think you can put on the internet and entertain people with, then you clearly you don't have it in you. Just stop, enjoy what other people write.
I feel that's a little too harsh.
People
but at the
don't.
Same time,
No, it's the truth. People don't come to this show to hear me talk down and be nice to people.
Yeah, that's me.
They come to listen to this show. If they come to listen to me at all, they come to listen to me to say something a little bit honest, maybe too honest. But yeah, in this case, if the writer was over the age of 8, stop. Just stop. We don't need this. Creepypastas don't need this.
Mm-hmm.
Creepypasta is a forum that's too good for this writing.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm just saying it
to be honest.
Save the embarrassment, because this is an embarrassment. Whoever wrote this should be embarrassed.
Yeah,
and
the writer is
an unknown writer.
Yeah, and that is why.
Why it's on the internet is beyond me.
Yeah.
Pardon me. But yeah. Anywho, on that note.
Yeah, on that note, so I guess for late night, I would still recommend it because I did enjoy the read once the ball got rolling. But maybe I would also consider it a conditional read if you've read some of his other stuff, because, like you said, it does seem to be kind of connected to that, all the loosely connected. So if you've read all his other stuff, give this one a read. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I thought it was the weird experience, and then nothing happened. Yeah, all right, conditional. Go read it. So
absolutely do not read for late night. Nothing happens. See my earlier griping.
Yeah.
For my list of reasons as to why it shouldn't be read. I mean, it's fairly competently written, but that doesn't save a shitty story where nothing happens.
Fair enough.
And I mean, I compared it to The Road, and The Road won, and I hate The Road. I hate The Road with all of my heart and soul.
I don't quite believe that, but all right.
Oh, you have no idea how much I hate The Road.
And Mikey?
I don't recommend late night. If you've read his previous works and you want to read more of his work, then go ahead, but as a standalone, it's just not that great.
Yeah, which is why I switched mine to conditional, because I understand
that's the closest he can get to not recommending something.
Yeah, for this one, yeah. Also, I have definitely not recommended other ones, so shut your fucking face, asshole.
Yeah, but it's happened 3 times.
Fuck off.
They were horrible, horrible things.
Look, I thought Jeff the Killer had some merit. No, not at all. Revoke that. That was a joke, inner listeners. Anyway, and then for...
Look who's not laughing.
I know. Well, big surprise. And then for The Girl in the Photograph, honestly, just go and read Tomi from Junji Ito. The mangas. It's a manga, so it's a Japanese comic. You can see some pretty pictures and some creepy pictures along with your story. So for this one, otherwise, it just kind of screams like a simple ghost story that I've heard several times. Like cursed object, cursed photo. Turns out, oh man, it's haunted. I won't recommend it.
Yeah. No,
also too short.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't think I need to reiterate
it just
my
happened.
stance, but yeah, obviously I do not recommend. I wholeheartedly do not recommend.
Yep. And Mikey?
Yeah, the writing, poor, the story, like you say, it's a ghost story. You could probably make up something better on the fly, sitting around a campfire.
And we even kind of expanded it and made it a little bit better with the whole what we're not seeing is this, and then that actually kind of made that story a little bit more involved, which is not what the story was. The story is not involved at all. You just see certain events happen, and then they happen again, and then this time it's lethal.
What would have been kind of cool would have been if it had have been written so that the driver of the vehicle at the end was the narrator,
Yeah.
and like maybe that would have been okay, or like maybe that would have. I mean, obviously, it would have to be a completely different story,
And-
start to finish. It would have had to be completely rewritten because what's here is not enough.
Yeah.
It's not even enough to really start on. I don't know. This is like
It's like the start of something.
this is like plot points for a full short story.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like it feels like a summary of a longer story. And yeah, actually, I didn't. Yeah, one thing I didn't touch on the whole like, oh, he went to bed and heard the tapping, went and followed it. Nothing happened that night. Looked around. It almost like it stuttered a bit. Like
If nothing happens, cut it.
yeah, like it stuttered. It almost like it just
And if
did
that
said
had
the exact same thing.
if that had been done with Late Night, wouldn't have gotten a fucking story to read.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least this one, the kid gets hit by the car. Something
happens, yeah. Like in that context, yeah. Like So, all right. I guess that's it for this week then. With those recommendations.
Now, I do have to clarify, because I think with what I just said, it may have sounded like I liked Girl in the Picture more than Late Night. That's not true. Late Night was better written
Yeah.
than Girl in the Picture. I
Yeah.
just want to clarify, make that a hard statement that
Yeah.
Late Night greater than Girl in the Picture.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. So, with that clarification,
Or maybe better, maybe more accurate, Girl in Picture less than Late Night.
all right. Yeah. So, yeah, if you agreed with us, or if you don't, if you want to leave us a comment or a message, leave it in the comment section below, or if this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube. Me and Dr. Leviathan are on Twitter at Dr. Leviathan and Review Cultist. You can leave us a review on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. Every little bit helps. And you can send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. And if you'd like, you can even donate. Go to crazonstudios.tumblr.com, where you can check out all the title cards for each episode as they come out. And on the side, there's a little donate button. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm still Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well. Excellent. On recording.
How many times do you have that on recording?
A couple times.
He's going to make a montage at some point.
Gotta put a montage. 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 Montage.